Welcome to Massive Beers. My name's Matt. We do the beer stuff here. We do the old beer stuff here. Some more old, dusty, shelfy brewery bottle. This is their Fruet. Um, this be a 2012 anniversary beer. So you're talking right now. What's that? Math is called 14 years old. Brewed by Family Brew, 100% ale, Asian bourbon barrels, contains alcohol. It says this sturdy beer, our fourth year, marks our fourth year, and we're grateful for the outpouring of community. Together, may your supporters, our brewery, in this beer grow in complexity and refinement over the years. Double bottle number 640. I don't know how many they made. What else we got? 15.5% alcohol by volume. On the back here, it says Fruet will age gracefully for decades when cellared properly. Best stored and cellared around 55 degrees in a dark place. Ideal serving temperature is 60 degrees F. Please pour carefully, leaving the yeast sediment behind in the bottle. Best served in a tulip or wine glass. Stemless. Tulipy wine glass. I pick up a lot of brewery ancients. This was not one of them. I should say, usually pick them up from the same spot. This is actually a new spot I discovered not too long ago. It's actually my second time going to this place. First time, actually, it's close to New Hope, Pennsylvania. I found it when I went on an overnight trip with my wife to New Hope, and man, that wax is crazy. I think we just pop it off at this point. And I'm being a mental note to stop back. Whenever I went back in that area, I went to a beer festival this weekend in New Hope. Human Robot was throwing. So this was there the first time. I didn't pick it up because I get scared at brewery bottles on shelves because they can get pricey. And by pricey, I mean, these were typically, 35, $40 retail when they came out. Um, so, I was like, feeling saucy, and I was like, I'm just gonna buy it. I don't know what the price is. I didn't even ask. I still don't know what I paid for it, but I bought a bunch of beer. Okay, I bought a bunch, a lot of beer would be the technical term at this place. Well, a decent amount. Let's put it this way. And my bill was $70 and change. There's no way this is 30 plus bucks because that means all the other stuff was not didn't cost any money. So yeah. Anyway, label wise, it's what Bruery does. I really do dig this labeling design that they did. I think they still adhere to it to a certain extent. Just reminds me of the yesteryear of beer and just the way kind of old beer was the jam. So yeah, I get that with it. Now, here's the deal with this. This is a bourbon barrel aged old ale. Not a lot of moving parts here. So that helps with its kind of ageability. They talk about if it's aged well, if it's cellared well, it will age for decades or whatever it may be. I don't know how this is kept. Again, like I said, I picked it up off a shelf. The place I got it from, the people that run it obviously know what they're doing, so maybe this was kept well. I don't know. It was on a shelf, but this was a very cool, dry place. Anyway, but if we just look at it from what we know, which is what is in the glass, that is exactly how I like my old ales to look. Just this due to water brown, murky, hazy, can't really see through it. A nice little head of carbonation on it, but nothing too crazy. You're talking about 15% bourbon barrel aged, 14 years. It's going to be hard pressed to get something that looks much better than that. So definitely looks the part. Let's get a nose in this. It very reminds me very much of a really nice, well done aged old ale, but then one that's not bourbon barrel aged. That's the thing with really well done old ale or slash and or English barley wine. J.W. Lee's, Old Stock, Thomas Hardy, those kind of beers. When they get 14 years old, they kind of get to where this beer is. When it's at this beer would be at like 5 years old. So, but there's this kind of like merging and melding together over time the longer a beer has to go. So this really does smell like a 14-year-old one of those beers. Not a huge barrel character here, but you're getting some spirit component to it. You're getting a slight little appley thing out of this. That could be either nothing or it could be a little bit of sidewayness in the beer. We'll find out when we actually taste it, but it doesn't have a huge boisterous nose. I am a little nasally, so I'm not getting the best nose on beer right now. So it could be more me than this, but I'm pretty sure if this was like hitting that like sweet spot as far as aromatics go, I'd get it. And it smells really, really nice. Let's put it this way: it doesn't smell like a 10 to 15 year old bourbon barrel aged or crazy barrel aged brewery huge ABV beer. That's not what it smells like. It smells more like a really nice, well aged old ale that is 15 years old. Kind of makes sense, but when you throw the barreling component and all that stuff in there, I believe they don't say this on here, but I think all the brewery anniversary beers are pseudo Solera too, so it's not just a base to this. There's some of the previous anniversaries thrown in that could always throw a little bit of a curveball in a beer, but all that, which comes off infinitely negative, like I'm kind of talking this beer down a little bit, sounds really good, and I'm excited to dive into it. So let's dive in. Cheers. That's delicious. My nose is not doing me a service right now. Yeah, I'm a little clogged on one side. That is delicious. This is like a little bit more. Let's take another sip, collect ourselves. So first things first, mouthfeel, very, very nice. It's a little low on the carb side to be understandable, the beer of this age, but it still has a like a lush kind of mouthfeel to it. Think of like a semi-turbid hazy. It has that kind of mouthfeel going for it, but on that kind of, rich toffee caramel kind of side of barley wine things as opposed to a hazy, obviously. A soft little tannic bittering on here. I assume it's hops. It could be a little bit of barrel at play there too. That's probably my best guess. Is that a lot of bourbon barrels showing through on this, and that charry, chocolatey charry kind of side of things. The chocolate, the vanilla, all that stuff, the coconut, all those bits and pieces of those barrels, all the bits and pieces of that spirit, all the bits and pieces of that old ale have now merged into one thing, but left that charry barrel behind, and that's kind of where you're getting that little bit of bittering. 100% welcome. 100% welcome because this is a very sweet beer. No shit, Sherlock. It's an old ale. It's a brewery beer, brewery anniversary beer. It's going to be a sweet beer, but it's not overly sweet for its style. And then on to the main portion of the show, the star of the show, which is the actual malt slash richness that you expect from an old ale slash barrel aged, long haul aged brewery beer. You're getting all the greatest hits here. You're getting that richness, that raisinetty, caramel, sugar daddy amalgamation. And when I talk about that, I try to express it in a couple different ways, but it's very basic sentiment when I talk about this amalgamation, this cohesiveness in a beer. It's like these barrel aged beers, these older beers, these like super aged beers. It's not that they're not fresh, obviously. So they lack this sharpness, this very razor explosiveness. But the trade-off is a cohesive, harmonic amalgamation. I don't think I've used that word ever before, but I'm using it now of a beer in the sense that all the bits and pieces are working in unison. They're working in concert. So if you drink this beer fresh, you're getting a pop of chocolate, a pop of caramel, a pop of that spirit, a pop of that barrel, a pop of that the malts from the beer, and it probably tastes really, really good. But it's very much like just a sim, like a just words, words and words. It's like going to a mosh pit kind of thing. It's fun as hell, but you're getting it from all sides, and you're getting it in a very kind of raucous fashion. Where this beer now, I think, is still as impactful as a mosh pit, but it's more harmonic. It's more serenady. It's a little bit. It's much more mature, and it's much more. Just it's impactful and it's big, but it's in a way that listening to Portishead is impactful and big, even though they're like one of the most down tempo, chill music you never. It's so it engulfs you, and it's so powerful in its security. I don't know best way to kind of compartmentalize it, but it's taking that hair on fire beer, which this beer certainly was when it was released back in 2012. 14 years ago, but it's now taking all those flavors, all those bits, all that greatest hits of that, and putting it into one note. One, no, worst way to put it. I should not have said it. It's not a one note beer, but it's all putting it into one dose. And it's all so smooth and it's all so put together so well. Um, man, it's what I really love about each beer. And again, I could see this eventually turning sideways because I still get that tiny little tinge of like a green apple thing in here. If it hasn't turned by now, it's not going to. But I think that even adds a little bit of flavor or coolness to the profile because you know it's not something that is inherently negative, and it's just like so fun because you like look at this beer bottle. If you look at it, it's just murky. You know, it like it has this haze to it, this sedimentation that has just attached itself to the glass. Because if you actually took this glass and rinse it out, it would be clear could be, as all brown bottles can be as clear as they can be. But yeah, just all this big, huge flavor and just this richness, and it's very much more like a cognac or sipping a spirit, a bourbon or something like that, as opposed to drinking a beer. Those are the vibes that I get when I get a beer like this, that has all these beautiful bits and elements, but they're so intergrained and intertwined with each other element of the beer. Very much more like spirity vibes. This is fantastic, and it's really simple to explain, even though I think it's very complex beer. Is that you take all the things I've been talking about, the, like nougaty, caramel, chocolate, vanilla, sugar daddy, raisinets, figs and dates, throw it in the blender. Throw a splash of your favorite bourbon in there and carbonate it. It's not that simple. But those are the flavors that you're going to get from this. And it's hard to really kind of talk about these beers or even wrap up the reviews because it's so much. I think you have to be an age. I think if you give this somebody's into beer, into big beers like barley wines, I think they appreciate it. But I think you almost have to have that journey through aged beer to really appreciate stuff like this. Not to be snooty or highfalutin or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but it's like because there's so many failures when it comes to aged beer. You'll have an aged beer. You're like, I know this thing aged great. It's the perfect kind of ager, and nothing. And you pick up a rando thing, and you're like, I don't even know if this is gonna age well, and it could have aged amazingly. And honestly, you could have. This place probably had like several bottles of these. I could have picked up a different bottle, and it could have been a different experience. Um, so it's like when you have those experiences, when you drink these kind of aged beers and they come out like this and they give you that kind of music, that song, that note, that serenade that you're looking for, it's a good thing. So yeah, I don't know. I've lost the plot here. I'm totally just rambling incoherently about metaphors and analogies that I probably mostly understand and nobody else does. And just say, as far as the age beer, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. As far as age beer goes, I think I might have found it back. I didn't. Um, in as far as old ale, age barley wine, barrel aged stuff, these brewery beers is one of the better ones I've had. Is it one of the best ones? There's one comes to mind that knocked my socks off. I forget what it was, probably about a year or so ago. This would be on the clear list of recent Mount Rushmore of aged, dusty brewery bottles that I've been doing, and very worth it. And you have to keep in mind it's not this, I want to say, crazy mixture of a beer, but these brewery beers can be like, it's a bourbon barrel aged stout blended with a blonde barley wine and an old ale with hazelnuts and coffee. You know what I mean? Like this is an old ale bourbon barrels with a little bit of Solera, pseudo Solera thrown in. So it's very, very simple. Um, and then it's one of the better ones. So take that for what it is. So in the grand scheme of things, it's one of the better old aged beers I've had. As like, yes, Mount Rushmore status, yeah, it is. Value and availability. Honestly, if I'm doing the math in my head, I want to say I paid like $20 for this bottle. I'd do that all day and leave you with, if you like what, But that's the thing. Are you gonna find this? If you want to, go to the Wonderful World of Wine in Lambertville, New Jersey, right on the other side bridge of New Hope. They have some for you, and and a bunch of other crazy shit too. And yeah, I don't know what else to say other than if you like this, will you like what? If you like age old beer, you like this. There you go. Reviewing about 12 enjoyed. Massive beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff here, messy podcasting stuff. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully, you're enjoying some brewery beers. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this one recently? That's the question down there. Hopefully, you're enjoying some good beer right now. Hopefully, see you next time. Cheers, y'all.